Welcome to Describe World Channel. Today, we are diving into the intriguing story of an often overlooked figure in Bible history, Keturah. While many are familiar with the central stories of the Bible, secondary characters like Keturah often remain in the shadows. However, their actions and influence had a profound impact on the biblical landscape and deserve to be explored. In this video, we will embark on a fascinating journey to discover more about this enigmatic character and her place in history. Often mentioned only briefly in biblical scriptures, these secondary characters require deeper study of Aramaic and Hebrew to truly understand their origins, lives, ancestry, and essence. Today, I invite you all to join me on this exploration as we uncover the origin of Keturah, the second wife of Abraham, and notably the mother of the Saudi nation. Stay tuned until the end to capture the full depth of this often overlooked story. So, who was Keturah? Keturah was the second wife of the biblical patriarch Abraham and had connections to both the Arab and Jewish peoples. According to the Bible, Keturah initially served as a concubine of Abraham following the passing of his first wife Sarah. Sarah, a prominent figure in the Old Testament, is primarily known as the wife of Abraham and the mother of Isaac, who became one of the patriarchs of the Jewish and Arab nations. Her story is central to the narratives in the book of Genesis. After Sarah's death, Abraham elevated Keturah to the status of a wife. It's important to note that Keturah should not be confused with Hagar, who was Abraham's Egyptian maidservant. Hagar and Keturah are distinct figures with their own stories and origins. While Hagar was a short-lived concubine fulfilling Sarah's request to bear a child for Abraham, Keturah emerged as Abraham's second wife after Sarah's passing. Keturah's true story and origin have often been clouded in controversy and confusion. Many theologians mistakenly associate Keturah with Hagar, but their narratives and origins trace back to different peoples. Keturah is not the same figure as the Egyptian Hagar. An understanding of their distinct stories helps us appreciate their individual roles and contributions. To truly understand Keturah, we must explore her etymology and uncover her ethnic origin. The name Keturah points to her Aramaic heritage. She was neither Egyptian nor a Canaanite woman. Ancient civilizations hold vast knowledge, and through our previous videos on this channel, we have discussed various aspects of these civilizations. Names carry within them the roots of ancient peoples and their ethnicities. Hebrew names indicate the Hebrew people, Arabic names denote the Arab people, and names in African languages trace back to African origins. Analyzing the name Keturah, we can observe its Aramaic origin. The name carries the meaning of committed and can also be interpreted as bound or promised. This leads us to understand that Keturah, the second wife of Abraham, was of Aramaic origin, as her name indicates. It's interesting to note that at a certain point, Keturah joined Rebekah, who was already committed to Isaac. Keturah likely played the role of a lady-in-waiting or servant to Rebekah, fitting into the context where Rebekah was led to Isaac and received gifts from her father, including servants. This practice was common among the Semitic peoples of that era, to which Abraham, Rebekah, and other biblical figures belonged. This custom of giving gifts upon marriage was deeply embedded in the context of Semitic tribalism and represented a tradition that permeated these ancient cultures. By exploring Keturah's origins, we gain a deeper understanding of her significance and the cultural context in which she lived. The story of Zilpah and Bilhah provides an excellent example to illustrate the dynamics of biblical secondary characters. Zilpah and Bilhah were Aramaic-born women who served as ladies-in-waiting to Rachel and Leah, respectively. Zilpah was Leah's servant and also became one of Jacob's wives, while Bilhah served Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife. Their stories revolve around the rivalry between Jacob's two wives, Leah and Rachel, and their competition to bear children. As Leah struggled to conceive, she gave Zilpah to Jacob as a concubine, hoping that Zilpah could bear children on Leah's behalf. Similarly, Rachel, who was initially infertile, offered her servant Bilhah to Jacob so that she could have children through her. These women were assigned to serve Rachel and Leah, reflecting a pattern within the context of Semitic tribalism. In Semitic cultures, it was customary for parents to provide gifts or dowries for their daughters upon marriage. This practice is exemplified in chapters 24 and 25 of the book of Genesis, where Abraham sought a wife for his son Isaac from his own kin, rather than among the Canaanites. This preference for marrying within the Semitic people showcased the cultural and religious significance attached to tribal identity. The belief in a single God was central to the Semitic perspective, and marrying within the Semitic ethnic group ensured the preservation of this faith. Consequently, the tribes of Israel were instructed to avoid intermarriage with people from foreign cultures, such as the Canaanites. Isaac, for instance, instructed Jacob to marry women from the land of Aram, emphasizing the importance of maintaining the Semitic ethnic lineage and faith. Keturah, who became Abraham's wife after Sarah's death, played a significant role in the formation of the Saudi nation. With Keturah, Abraham had 6 sons: Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Among these sons, Midian became the ancestor of the Midianites. The descendants of Keturah and Abraham, known as the Keturah tribes, gave rise to the 6 Semitic Arabian tribes that occupied the region now known as Saudi Arabia. Therefore, Keturah can be seen as the symbolic mother of the Saudi nation, representing the continuity of the pure Semitic lineage. It's worth noting that in later generations, the descendants of the Midianites, who were from the Keturah tribes, intermixed with the descendants of Ishmael, Abraham's son with Hagar. This encounter resulted in the formation of a great nation, but the details of this story will be explored in a future video. We appreciate the requests and feedback from our viewers, which have inspired us to create content on various biblical characters, peoples, and related topics. We will continue to explore these subjects regularly and invite you to suggest more characters and topics that interest you for future videos. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for the next video on our channel.